You guys want to get some coffee or something?
Can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Even little kids in Mexico drink coffee.
Well, I'm not a little kid in Mexico, okay?
That is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
You want a cup of coffee?
No coffee.
Coffee drinker, huh?
Maybe we could grab some coffee?
Coffee! Coffee, 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 coffee!
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on us.
Warning, this show has military veterans on it. If you don't like that, tough shit. You've been warned. Good morning.
Where's the counter, Gerry?
I'm getting to it. Actually, it's just off camera.
Actually, we don't need it. We have Don here on the panel. He's the counter. The counter of the F-bombs. Yeah, we need to be on Gerry because he doesn't realize half of the time that he's dropping them. But I'm just saying.
Yeah,
so.
it took me
I realized him dropping them, but not me. So
Anima, it took me a while, believe me.
But the thing is with that show, they cuss a lot in that show, so it's tempting to slip into that kind of language when you're discussing it.
And here we go. There, it started. I don't know why it wasn't starting. It just...
Yeah, you set it to 0, the F-bombs.
Oh.
Why is it on 2?
Yeah, because that was the last episode, Jesus Christ. Wonder why I cuss so much.
Oh, my God.
So, anyway, I must
Good
be a
morning.
Mexican child. I'm drinking coffee.
You see this? This is my little notebook.
It's a little notebook
This is where I keep track
of Gerry's F-bombs.
Yeah, it's there for eternity.
I think I'm getting more comfortable with it to where I feel like I have control over it a little bit.
At least for 10 minutes?
No, I mean, I noticed that I've gone through long patches with 0 cussing, or at least 0 F-bombs. And so, and I want to point this out that, again, there are military veterans talking on this show. So if you don't like that, that's tough shit. You've been warned. We're military veterans talking about military stuff. And as I've always said, a soldier ain't a soldier until he's doing soldier shit. Sometimes that soldier shit is hurry up and waiting. Hurry up, get to point B. Now wait there for hours until everybody else shows up. But you had to get
to
there.
the VA, isn't it?
Yeah. My appointment's at 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is the doctor going to see me today?
That's the situation in every doctor's office over here.
Well, that's the problem when you have, because the military, I tell people all the time, if you want an example of how socialized medicine will work, take a look at the VA. It is socialized medicine specifically for veterans, okay? And look, the treatments are almost always good. If you were to give the VA a score on treatments, I'd give them a B+ most of the time. But when you are asked, how's the wait time? F, all the way across the board. It's just ridiculous. And that's the way it is in the UK, because they did that social medicine test. They sent out a poll to people in their homes, and they also polled people coming out of their medical facilities. Now, when they polled people from home, they got like 40%, 35 to 40%. It was just a terrible score. When they polled people coming out that just saw their doctor and was happy, they got 65%. Good poll. And
Still
that's the difference.
Good.
Socialized medicine is a problem, not in the treatment most of the time, but in how long it takes to see your primary care provider.
It's in the bureaucracy.
What? What is that word? I've never heard that before. Bureaucracy.
I can only tell for the countries I've been living in, but the main problem is that they have to schedule so many patients with time slots that they just can't keep because it takes longer to treat a patient, which is why the waiting is so terrible. So you have your appointment and there'll be at least an hour.
That'll be 6 months from, I want to say good morning to everybody in the chat. Let's see who's all here. Das Wolfen was first in the house. Alatar was number 2. Werewolf Jeebus, Denko, come again, was in the house. Now, Jeebus, I showed that video to Don. Don was, the fuck is that? Oh, there we go.
And that's the first one.
Okay, that's number 1.
The party has started.
There we go. Boom. And Don doesn't know what was in that video. And I said, I got to be honest, when I watched that video, it really looks like flares because the way they were moving. And now most flares don't last very long, but I noticed some of those were fading out and they were in a pattern. So
and it was a very short.
It's a short video. Also. Is there a longer video, Monkey? If there's a longer video, I know Don would like to see. I'd like to see. Good morning, 6. Hello. Pacific 414 is here. Penny. Hi, D. Bud Martin. Let's see who else popped in.
Hey, Cal.
Oh, there he is. Alex Moore and Kingsport Cal. Good morning. It's Monday, man. We survived the weekend.
It was actually a pretty good weekend.
Anima pissed me off, man. We went to see Black Adam yesterday.
At the same time, almost.
Yeah, we're only 50 minutes apart. In
30 minutes.
So was it? I thought it was 50.
Half an hour. No,
half an hour. Okay, so half an hour. That's really close. So she went to see it there in Split, Croatia, and I went to see it here in Springfield on IMAX, by the way. And I'm going to give the thorough breakdown. It's either going to be Friday or Saturday. I got to talk to Keith. Keith's not here this morning. I'm not going to bug him. He worked all night, so I'm going to let him sleep in today and not bother him. But
he had a busy honeydew weekend, so
yeah. I saw you two got together. Bastards.
Yeah, well,
you sons of bitches.
I tried setting up something with you, and you know.
I know. One of these days I'll accept your calls.
That is Gerry being actually nice.
Well, I'll be back. I'll be back in Springfield in December for Geekmas.
All right, I'll see you then. We need to do something, hang out together. Once we get the studio, I want you to make a trip down here to be on the show.
Okay.
Us. And they were going to work on it this weekend. It didn't happen. So eventually.
That's not fair. How come he gets to go to the studio and I'm in sunny Southern California? That's not fair.
Are you complaining, Don? Seriously? You are complaining?
I want an airplane ticket, Gerry.
It's actually
across the fucking country.
I think from LAX to Branson or Springfield's like under $100. I got to check. That'd be kind of nifty just to fly you in. You'd have to find your own damn place to stay, though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
I wish I had recorded longer. I'll probably see them again. I got to tell you, dude, those looked like flares, like they tried to say was in Phoenix, which is bullshit. Flares don't last that long, but those were fading really quickly. I don't know how long they were up there, and we need something that's more representative of how long they were up there, and the direction they were going looked like they were following an airstream. That's what it looked like to me. Don, what did you think for that little bit of a video?
I got to tell you, I have no clue, none, zero,
none,
-0.
We will find out, Kingsport Cal, when we do our full review and discussion. I will do the first 20 minutes. Will be, of course, non-spoiler, and then the very last 20 minutes of the show we'll get into the spoilers, and that way anybody who hasn't seen it yet can mute us and not listen to us on either Friday or Saturday. I'll let you know which one. We will be discussing it this week. I will tell you this. I had 2 major complaints about the film. I'm not going to tell you what they were here, but if you are friends with me on Facebook or on, I think, my personal Twitter account, I think I mentioned it. Danny, the other Danny, not beautiful. I'm in love with Danny, but the guy I kind of like. No, I love Danny too. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have met. So, well, as soon. But
stop confusing people and call me Anima on the show, will you?
Anima Confusa. Yeah, I mocked you for like the first week. I was so enamored with her. I was mocking the shit out of her. You can tell when I like you. I'm just mercilessly mocking you. You can drop out all you want, baby. You know you liked it. I was giving her a lot of attention.
Stop derailing. Start the show.
You derail.
Excuse
Anybody
me.
else drop in? No, we're all here.
I'm here to underail you.
Penny is here. That, of course, is Danny's mom. And if you didn't know that, Penny, I owe your son for introducing Anima and me. So if you didn't know that, good morning, Penny. So, all right, let's get into this. You have the notes.
Some notes, yeah. I was lazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anima Confusa, Pop Culture Minefields Factotum.
Yeah, the taker of the notes.
If you don't know, Factotum has the word fact in it, but it actually means that you just do everything. You're just doing everything.
I'm the housekeeper here.
Yeah,
I'm
the housekeeper.
Gerry's
Stop cussing. Tell me to do it.
8 seconds.
I dare you. I dare you. Tell me to do it.
No.
Do it. Do it. Get to the chopper. I love it. She'll slip those in on me, little Arnold impressions.
Yeah, when he's not expecting them.
Yeah, and it just tickles me. Well, I have known Keith for 30 years. Whoop-de shit, John. That and $2 will get you a cup of coffee at McDonald's. In other words, that's awesome, actually. Keith is an amazing guy. He really is.
Cal was accusing me of cheating because I went and did stuff with Keith and not you.
You cheating bastard. No, Keith was one doing the cheating. Keith, you bastard. No. No, we're all friends, and you guys have been friends with him. You and Scott, who I live with.
Yeah.
Scott's been friends with him since they were kids, too.
Yeah.
You all knew each other, you know?
Yeah, where is Audio Guy this morning? What?
Some kid playing a record?
Okay. Let's just start discussing SEAL Team Season 6, Episode 6.
All right.
What's 6?
Get going. Let's go.
So we left off Team Bravo being pulled out, sent back home. And the very last scene is Clay walking out on his wife and kid. So we start this episode with Sonny coming into his apartment, and it looks like somebody broke in. So he pulls out his gun, and he goes to check the situation. And I called it. I suspected it.
He's clear. Of course it was. You know, we all knew it was.
It's Clay camping out in his apartment.
Yeah, he found old food boxes and shit on his coffee table. He's like, what the hell? Pulls out that Glock.
Someone's been
I think that was
living here.
A Glock 17. And he's like clearing his apartment.
Yeah.
Going room to room, finds a sleeping guy with a I don't know. This would be something like if I was hanging out with Don for the weekend, finds a guy with one leg in a bed asleep.
He calls him Stumpy later in the episode. That made me laugh so hard.
He calls him Stumpy.
Well, they're battle boost for life, so he's out.
That would earn him an ass kicking, I would think.
Not with him, though.
I have a question. The actor who plays Clay, he isn't missing a leg in real life, right?
No.
Okay,
No.
so
No, they're doing, and I've heard people make the argument to go, why didn't they get somebody? And it's like the reason why is because for the last 4 seasons he had a leg, and so now he's playing a character who lost his leg. And I like it. I like it when they
usually have a guy who's amputated for the shots.
Well, my buddy last season, Kurt Yeager, plays one of Jason's old buddies who lost a leg in combat. And I've known Kurt for years, for almost 15 years. And he is Vindicated Inc. He is the character in my comic book. He let me use his likeness in the comic. And it was really cool to see him in the show playing this character. But that's because his character comes in with a leg missing. Now, the only thing, and I wanted to bring this up, Don, before we go into it, because one of the things I've been criticizing is the amount of time they were showing, because he had a below-the-knee amputation. And with all the disabled veterans I've worked with, I've never seen someone take as long to learn to get their balance that had a below-the-knee amputation, learning to walk on a prosthetic. And it seemed to take him forever. And I think they were doing it for dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
Am I
Is there
correct?
a question there?
Yeah, am I correct?
Well, I wish I could tell you specifically, but mine's an AK.
Above the
Okay.
knee.
Yeah, mine's an AK. And that was kind of a different breed of animal. As a matter of
Right.
fact, the day after the remnants of my leg was removed, they put a cast on it with a little attachment to stick with the first prosthetic leg to help you start walking. And I'm talking about not even 24 hours. And boy, did that screw me up.
Well, yeah, because all your weight is going on your femur.
Yeah. So my best bud there at the time, his wife was a nurse, and she had come over to see me because, initially they didn't think I was going to make it. I'd lost so much blood. And she came over, and she was kind of shocked that they had me up. And all of a sudden, I mean, the pain had been constant, but then it got totally intense. And I went back into my hospital room, or they helped me get back in there. And Maria, that was the lady's name. Okay, Maria came in, and she was holding my hand because I was just in intense pain, and it kept getting worse. And I said, Maria, I got to have a shot of morphine or something. Okay, please get somebody in here. And finally, a doctor came in, and he said, well, let's take the cast off. And what had happened was it started bleeding again, and it swelled up, and it was swelling up inside that plaster cast. And boy, I'll tell you what, it was bad. But it took probably, I'm trying to think now, another week or two before I tried that again, Gerry. But now once I got up and I started gimping around, basically, I had to get measured for my first prosthetic. And the first prosthetic actually was too damn small. The socket where my leg went in, okay, was too small. And I had a lot of problems with that. And it wasn't until the VA did it, because this had happened when I was a cop, all right, and everything was civilian. But it wasn't until the VA, I get into the VA, and they did it, that I finally got one that worked halfway decently. So that's my tale of woe. I want to know why Anima's not crying.
Anima, she's so used to me talking about this stuff because
No, I'm a medical nerd. My sister was in the ICU when I was 11, and I was fascinated. And the nurses would take me around and explain everything.
Oh, can I see your scar? Can I see your scar?
No, I'm not grossed out by that or anything.
She hates needles, though. I don't want to watch you get the needles out.
No, I have no problem. Unless you point it at me, then I'm out. Just don't point the needle at me. I don't like that.
But I love it when she gets frustrated when I can't turn off Medic Gerry. So I'm like, no, once I start going Medic, it's like I can't shut it off until I'm done. And
yeah, sometimes that annoys me.
Yeah, that's what do we say? Tough titty said the kitty. But the milk is
You
good.
like my French press? Look at that.
Oh, he's gone all fancy now.
My wife has one of those.
I'll tell you who introduced me to that. My bro Richard Saraday. Now Richie left us 2.5 years ago now, but he was the guy that said, "Man, you have never had a cup of coffee till you've had a French press cup of coffee." So you know what he did? He went out and he bought me one, and he brought it back to the house, and he said, "Here." He said, and it was at Christmas time. He said, "Let's make a pot of coffee and see how you like this." Oh my God, Gary, I went nuts. It was rich and fragrant.
You need the right coffee though.
Huh?
You need the right coffee though, and you need to grind it in the right way for the French press to really work. You can F it up.
Yeah, that's true. You're absolutely correct.
And what was that word you're about to say? It begins with an F?
I just said F.
Yeah, there's supposed to be more words, more letters after that.
Not when she does it.
FRACK. Frack.
Hey, we did 10 minutes with just one bomb by Gerry and one bomb by me. We're fine. It's Military Monday anyway.
Military Monday. I guess I won't say what this is. Oh, I can't show it. Oh, crud. Hold on. I gotta take off the logo before I can show some artwork I worked on this weekend. I'm working on.
Before you do that, Gary.
Yeah, man.
Let me see if I can do something. I've got an actual Vietnam veteran here. Okay. As soon as here we go.
Oh yeah.
P-38.
Yep.
P-38.
I still have mine.
I've got one.
This did a tour in country, dude.
So did mine because it was my dad's.
Boom, baby.
Is that right?
Yep.
Boy, they're handy, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I can open a can faster than anybody can with a conventional hand can opener or electric with the P-38. They are just absolutely the best. There you go. This is one of the drawings I did this weekend for a cover. And I will say that is Santa Claus getting the shit beat out of him.
With Gary's arms.
Yeah, you didn't have to tell him that.
I like it.
I had to pose because he wanted it to look a certain way, and the way I was drawing it didn't look right. Oh, Jesus Christ. He caught something the other day, and I was hoping he would never notice it, the creator of the comic. And he said, "Wait, the elbow doesn't look right." And I'm like, "Oh, crap, he saw it." I got to fix the elbow in one of my drawings. I thought it was hidden behind the gun well enough because I didn't really want to fix it because I'm like, oh, that's another 20, 30 minutes of drawing I got to do if I want to fix that. And I got to get on. I got to move on. No, would you fix that? Oh, fuck you. Oh, there's number 3.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, number 2. But it's after 10 minutes.
I don't care. I don't care, specialist. I don't care.
Okay.
Or was that PFC?
PFC.
What?
I actually went back to my DD214 and actually I processed out SE2.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Because they didn't have it. There's this thing that happens when you're active to going inactive, that if your reserve unit doesn't have slots available for that rank, you can get demoted. You can lose your rank. But I left because a lot of people don't know. I never talk about it, but I left the military because the woman that I served in the army with, we got married and had a kid. And she didn't want the baby. And I'm like, I'll do it. I'll raise the baby. I like babies. And so I left active duty service and raised that baby. And then, you know, she got bored with me and fell in love with another soldier because combat Gerry is much cooler than mommy, daddy.
Mommy Gerry.
And I've never blamed her for leaving me. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know, that guy that washes the baby, feeds the baby, gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning, does all that stuff, burps the baby, you know, not an interesting dude. Not an interesting dude because she was a combat effective female. She was all about the soldiering, and I left the soldiering behind to be a daddy. And I don't regret it a bit, though I miss the military. I missed it because I just liked being in the Army.
Can I be a little subjective here?
Yeah.
Any parent, much less a mother, that would abandon their kid. Okay, to me, I lost a child. All right, I lost a son. He was 9 years old, and to me, there's nothing more. You know, I'm all about loyalty to my friends, loyalty to my spouse, and of course, love. But for a child, you know, it's like taking into your home an innocent puppy. They're totally dependent upon you. There's no way they can make it on their own. So the only thing they have going for them is the love of their parents. And to walk out on a child, I got
to tell you, she was up front from the beginning. She didn't want kids, and I, on the other hand, it's all I wanted. I wanted kids. It's called the pill, dude. It's called the pill. I told Anima, I'm a terrible husband. I was a terrible husband. I didn't care whether they were there or not. I really didn't. Well, all I cared about were the kids. And I love kids, man. I love taking care of kids. I like babies are amazing, you know. And I wanted to, and I've talked about this once, I think, that when I was in nursing, the job I wanted, I couldn't get in the 80s. They wouldn't let me work in newborns. I wanted to work with newborns. And they said only women. This is back in the 80s. It was very sexist in the nursing field. And sexist in the fact that women got paid shit, and it took men coming into nursing to get them better pay. And sexist in the fact that there were jobs that men couldn't do. They wouldn't allow men to do, which was work in obstetrics or newborn. And it was the one thing I wanted to do. And it's why I went to paramedicine, because I'm like, well, if I don't get to take care of babies, I want to rescue people. But I would say 70%, 60% of my work as a paramedic was cleanup.
Hey, we have a super sticker from Darius Munchausen.
Yeah, I saw that, Darius. Thank you for the super sticker. I don't know what's on there.
With the coffee.
Yep, coffee. I'm assuming that it was going to be that. Thank you very much, sir. I'm still friends with all my sergeants from the Army. So Sergeant Mr. Mom would be Tom Parker, one of my sergeants. Both of them were with the Sacramento Fire Department, Fire and Rescue. And they were best friends in real life, and they became best friends with me in the Army. And I loved hanging out with those guys, and I'm still friends with them to this day. In fact, Tom Parker, Sergeant Tom Parker, still has all my movie posters from when I was in California. They're in his garage. And he keeps saying, I'm going to send them to you one day. I think he started saying that in 1994. Still sitting in his garage. But Gerry loves killing Charlies and caring for babies. I got to tell you, Alicia, you know, she's dead now. She died of cancer. And she just never made any pretenses. But when she got pregnant, when it happened, and it was accidental, because we were taking precautions.
Gerry, don't tell me it was accidental. There's intent there.
Oh, there's always intent with me. But the prophylactics don't always work. And it happened. And I begged
especially if you punctured them.
There you go. You got me again. 3 now.
That's 3, Gerry.
You son of a bitch, Martin. God damn you. But
Martini's better at that than I am.
I love that there's a movie that has that in there. The dude that plays Reacher was in a comedy where he tells these girls to pull out their prophylactics. Pull them out, show me your prophylactic. And then he puts water in them and they're like spraying water everywhere. And he's, because they wanted to get the quarterback to go to bed with him and make him pregnant from the football team. Anyway, yeah, and I begged her not to do it because she was wanting to end it. And I'm like, please don't do it. I'll raise the baby. And that's when I took that oath. I said, you don't ever have to worry about the baby. Just follow it to term. And that's what she did. She did that for me. But then stuff happens, in a divorce, and other people infiltrate mother-in-laws and they make demands. And all of a sudden I was out of raising my kid and I got screwed. But at that point I didn't know, Don, how to fight for your kid. It took years when Zoe was born finally for me to figure it out. And what I discovered is you don't have to fight. What you have to be is a bulwark and a reed in the wind. You got to be both. You got to be willing to stop other people from railroading you, and you have to be willing to take whatever they throw at you until that custody hearing. And don't participate in the fight, because that's where things get convoluted and you can look really bad. And I told my attorney when I was fighting for Zoe, because he wanted me to fight more. And I said, I'm not going to participate in this game they're playing. I'm not going to do it. I have to earn the right to be my daughter's father. And I won't feel proud of myself if I participate in this mudslinging. I'm not going to do it. And it aggravated him. It really did. He got angry at me over it. But in the end, that judge looked at me and he says, this is an easy decision. All you. I'm not even going to consider them in the parenting plan after what they've done because of their behavior. My ex and her in-laws, or I mean her parents and family, they were the ones involved with the kidnapping. They were the ones who were basically threatening me all the time, and I just took it. I was Job, man. Modern day Job. Didn't complain. Yeah, man.
Can we thank?
Hey, I said the F word. Isn't that good enough for a video?
No. He deserves more.
All right. For you, sir, it's coffee day and it's military day. So boom,
hey,
babe.
Here's your free cup of coffee from a lady in Rhode Island. What?
Oh, man, I wish Seth would do nothing but military jokes because I would love to just like make those as memes. But let's get back to it. Sonny comes home, finds Clay.
And Clay lies to him about everything.
Yeah, he lies to him.
He tells him he's on medical leave, which we know he's not because he got sent home for erratic behavior. He lies about, he hides the fact that he's taking pills. Sonny finds that out on accident.
Yeah, I'll find out.
He tells him his wife and son are visiting the in-laws and he can't stand them and the apartment felt empty and he had the key to Sonny's place. So that's why he's there. He's just lying about everything to everyone, not just Sonny.
And we're getting a payoff for all the melodrama that they were bringing in, because that's my big complaint this season. Above any other season previously, is this season seems to just be filled chock full of excessive melodrama. I think that, and I still criticize that. I think they had the timing off, because by the time he was home, his ability to stand on that prosthetic leg shouldn't have been a challenge. With those that I've worked with below the knee amputations, my experiences with him in the medical field. So it's just, I thought that was unrealistic, but I understand why. They were trying to show what veterans go through, that process of learning to walk on that limb. And I liked it when they, because they focused on how he wanted to be combat effective again. And he had that goal to be combat effective on a prosthetic. But he seemed to have lost that by this episode. And we now see that transition finally.
By last episode, actually.
Previous
That's
episode, but
when he
this one
starts
really,
the pity party.
yeah, he starts the pity party where it's like, woe is me, and agreed, everybody's got a right to be depressed over what's going on with them, but he's manifesting in a way that it's not only self-destructive, it's toxic with everyone around him.
He's going down a rabbit hole. He's isolating. He's paranoid.
He's isolating. He's causing conflict with other characters. They're fighting with each other over who's not doing what they need to be doing with him. I mean, Lisa, she's a freaking Marine. She's not really part of the team. She's not Bravo, but she feels guilty over everything that's happening to Clay. She's self-blaming.
Not just Clay, also the team.
Yeah, the entire team. She feels like
with the Assyrian mission, she feels guilty. She had no.
Well, they should feel a little.
She had no way of
guilty.
knowing about the drones. She had no way of knowing that.
Because she and Eric. Well, she and Eric have been the comm controllers for Bravo team, and they kind of left them hanging.
We learned a bit later on that there was another person involved who is kind of on both sides, who basically sent them into the assault. That's the mysterious notes she has on her computer about.
Well, she discovers.
Charlie team. Yeah.
She's on her. It's not your regular laptop. It's your military laptops that are designed to uplink with the satellite and pull down all communications. And she pulls down a communique that says that the same person that set them up for the ambush is the same person who's now setting up Charlie
in West Africa. Yeah,
in West Africa. So we're like, oh shit, this is going to be a build up to hopefully a big fight at the end, taking out some bad guys. And
because the action we get in this episode is weird action.
And finding out who really is pulling all the strings. We need to find out.
Who's behind Al Sham, yeah.
Is
who
it
gives
Chechens?
them the weapons?
Is it the Russians? Is it the Koreans? Is it China? Somebody's pulling these guys' strings and paying for all their equipment because they had multi-modern drones that fired weapons at them.
Gerry,
you take over the show, Anima.
Oh God,
we're gonna keep going down rabbit holes.
Absolutely.
ADD theater.
ADD theater. That was in sync too. Next scene, we see Jason and Mandy catch up because she's back from Afghanistan too, and tells him about a mission where she relocated a woman, but couldn't save all of the people around her. So kind of a failed mission on her end too. So they go back and forth about that because Jason is so frustrated about his failed mission because they didn't get Yaziri. And we also see Ray and Naima at the Future Vet Center, where he gets a little bit pissed because she made some changes while he was away to save money, just to save money. But he's like, I thought we're in this together. So a little bit of quarreling there. And all these people touch Clay at some point. Everybody talks about him and nobody knows.
Yeah, everybody's interconnected
where he's
with him.
Where he's at, because he's gaslighting them all. He gives everybody a different piece of information, and it takes a while until they piece it together and figure it out.
And I've met people like that in the military that do that. By the way, I do need to say good morning to some people. We got some people joining us. Of course, Polly is here. It's always wonderful to see Polly. Dragon Bricks is here. Comic Relief Crusader is here. Bill Barkley from Scotland. Darius Munchausen is here. The single safe Munchausen. Dragon Ruse. It is a House of Dragons. Somebody named BRB. Oh no, Martin had to go pee. Kylock is here. Kylock said he shaved his head today. I read that, Kylock. Glenn Fleming, who is, of course, one of our good English friends. Real Wade Nation is here in brightest day. So there, I greeted those guys. Now, please continue.
We next see Sonny talk to Lieutenant Davis about Clay, of course. And we also learned that Lisa still blames herself for everything that happened, beginning with what happened to Clay. And, oh, God.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Pat just wrote.
Yeah.
Pat is one of our producers. Pat says, Gerry wasn't a SEAL because that's Navy, but he was in the short-lived Army Walrus team. He was a medic in Gugugajube. I am the walrus. I am the walrus. Gugugajube. There you go.
Medic walrus.
Hold on. What do Eskimos and Ziploc bags have in common? Racist.
Pull it up. Now you have to pull it up. Where's
They
that
both-
image?
They both like a tight seal.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're horrible. Hold on, I gotta get that graphic. Hold on, here you
Yeah,
go.
please.
And he's Asian, just like you.
Yeah. Oh, and the back door.
Do
was
you
locked.
mean Monkey Jeebus is not Indian?
The back door
No,
was locked,
he
Gerry?
is not Indian. He is Japanese. Hey, karimasan Jensen.
Biddle did a thing. You need to play
What?
the back door.
Oh, hold on. Let me get there. I'll get there. Hold on.
You want to play me hard?
Phrasing.
And
Like, wouldn't you know that back door would trigger a trap door?
there you go. What I loved about Scooby-Doo was it taught a whole generation to be skeptical of adults, and more so that ghosts don't exist somehow. They turned us into skeptics, not to believe in monsters or ghosts. And that always bugged me a little bit. That I liked it when they did newer stuff because monsters existed in Scooby-Doo the movies. There were monsters in the second film. And in the first film, everybody knew Scrappy-Doo was a monster. We all hated Scrappy-Doo. Everybody hated Scrappy-Doo. And he got his just desserts. Don't respond, anybody. Please don't respond.
I don't want to.
I was nodding.
Well, Scooby-Doo got brand new currency with me when Sam and Dean from Supernatural made the scene.
I love that episode. I actually, when I found out about it, I absolutely went back and watched the show. And by the way, everyone.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the middle of the film.
There you go.
We are not even in the middle yet. Don't get
So,
any
well, no,
more.
we're going to speed through it. Go, Danny. Go, quick.
Yeah, Lisa and Sonny, and Lisa blames herself for everything that happens because she thinks like, this is my job to make sure you're safe, and I failed because he lost his leg, and now look what happened in Syria. So I'm horrible at my job basically, and she goes back in, and Jason's there waiting for her, and they talk about the failed mission, and Jason is like, how the F does she know that? And of course, his mind goes to Omar right away. He told her. He's not trusting him. They talk a little bit about how frustrating it is not to get intel as to who is behind Yassiri, Al-Sham, that whole thing. And yeah, Jason is frustrated. He's like, yeah, we're getting nowhere. Clay is doing more with the green team training than we have accomplished in all these weeks. About the revenge of the killed soldiers. We lost the fantastic warrior, of course, Nuri, who sacrificed herself to
And the
help them
assault
get out.
on the ship, because they're kind.
That's what I mean.
It's
The
reminiscent of
revenge
the
of the kids.
situation that came out over the USS Cole.
Yeah, the Crampton. That's the name of the ship. Eric comes in, and they talk, and that's how Jason finds out that Clay is not on medical leave, but he was sent home for erratic behavior, which is also new to Lisa. So they're beginning to puzzle it together. We all think he's doing fine. He might not be doing so well. Cut to Sunny and Clay, and they have decided, let's do a boys trip, because there's a hut that they inherited from a, I guess, deceased fellow seal in the mountains, and they decide to just go up there and do some bow hunting and just hang out, change of scenery, take their mind off things. And they find drawings and a treasure map. Whoops. What looks
I
like...
think we just lost Gerry.
Yeah. But we shouldn't have, because he's hardwired now. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Anyway, he'll be back. He'll be back eventually. There he is.
There he is.
What happened?
There he is.
I lost audio, so I had to leave.
Okay, okay. We are at the hut now, and they just found the treasure map, or what looks to be like a treasure map, which kind of piques
And
his
I'm
interest.
telling you, this is going to be personally important. I think that it's
in the next episode, probably. Yeah.
I believe that it's going to be a time capsule type thing. They're going to find something that connects them all, and we'll connect him with this guy that, of course, is dead now. His character is dead.
Metal was his name, I think. I don't know. I'm not familiar with characters from previous seasons. Word finding. They're about to head to the bedroom when the pills fall out of his backpack. And Sonny's like, seriously? And Clay's like, hey, my leg hurts when I'm up with the green team all the time. Are you going to blame me for that? And completely distract him. But now Sonny knows about the pills. There's a brief scene between Jason and Mandy where they talk about an old comrade. They're about to leave for a trip on their own, like for them to get a change of scenery. And Jason is caught up in memories about an old comrade who lost a leg, and he lost contact with him, and he's afraid this is happening to Clay. So Mandy tells him, you know what, we can do this another time. Your brother needs you now, and basically sends him to go to that hut as well. We see Sonny and Clay talking, and Clay finally opening up about how useless he feels. Basically filling Sonny in about how bad he is, really. And there's no better, I think, to talk about these things than Sonny, because he goes all shrink on him, which is kind of nice. They are brothers, after all.
Well, it's the discussion that takes place in the cabin between Ray and him when Ray shows up, and they hear this is after the bar fight. And Ray shows up. And
that's the other shrink talk. Yeah, but this
really
this one is where Sonny tells him you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Which is something that we learned early on in the military: is get comfortable with the uncomfortable, where you have to just get used to things not feeling comfortable,
or so embrace the suck.
Or embrace the suck. That's right. We had another one. I'm sure you probably had this one. It's called "Suck It Up and Drive On." Was one that you would hear
or
Sergeant
"Suck It Up,
say
Buttercup."
Yep. I was about to say "Suck It Up, Buttercup."
Buttercup was one, but this was more of a group thing. The drill sergeants and sergeants throughout training, all the way through to our units, with our platoon sergeants, would always have this as a phrase that, all right, we know this sucks. They know it sucks, so they'll just turn to you, hey, man, suck it up and drive on. High speed, low drag is another one I used to hear all the time. High speed, low drag. Hurry up and wait. I cannot tell you how many times we were rushed to go someplace, and we sat there for hours waiting for command to show up.
I like how that show picks up on that. Sometimes you just sit around and wait, and there's nothing you can do, and it sucks.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people I think it's funny that a show about Navy SEALs is technically advised by an Army Ranger.
Who is in this episode?
Yeah, I love it when he's on the show. His wound is so clear and obvious every time he's on there, because he had a catastrophic wound to his arm. It just took chunks out of his arm. And they always make it a point to let that be seen on camera, and he's not afraid to show it. And so he's actually the team medic, even though he's combat effective. He's part of the door kicking team. And
he's blaming himself because he wasn't there.
He wasn't there because he was hospitalized.
He keeps saying that, you were down one medic in the field.
If he had been there, he probably wouldn't have lost his leg.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have let him stick his bones back in.
Yeah, he was.
That caused infection.
He was handling his bones.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're packing bacteria into your leg. Yeah. Just leave it alone. Stop touching it. But that's the reality of the show. But go ahead. So we're at the cabin.
And they are talking, and then Clay's like, yeah, you know what? Let's not go hunting. Let's check out that treasure map. And this is the moment when Jason pokes his head into the window and goes like, beer, and the other guys are there too. Just Jay is missing because Jay is busy at the Veterans Center. He will show up later eventually.
Ray.
Jay is his name. No, Ray. Sorry.
You're talking about Ray, the black guy with the mohawk.
Yeah, he arrives late, but Jason and all the other guys come in with beer, and so it's like the bachelor party Team Bravo never had, is what they say. I don't know what the backstory behind that one is.
And we've lost Gerry again.
It's his audio. He needs to jump out and back in again. It started doing that last night. It's really weird.
I lost audio again.
Yeah.
It's my computer did something. So go ahead.
So the boys set out to check out that treasure map, and the first point seems to be not on their level, but up on a hill. And Clay realizes he can't go there with his leg. And he goes all pissy because one of them says like, hey, man, I can just put you on my back and carry you up there. And he's like, don't touch me, don't touch me. And
yeah, that's like
going on like, don't let me slow you
dwarf.
down. Just go ahead. You go ahead. And that's
Can you
what
imagine
Chase
somebody
is like.
offering to pick up Dawn?
You would get
Hey,
that.
Gerry, those audio problems of yours, I got a suggestion. Stay away from the porn sites.
Actually, just let you know what it is when I open an audio editor, for some reason it tries to connect to my audio in the show. And I opened up Acid Pro to edit a MP3. And it interrupts my audio.
So don't do it.
I can't hear you. I'm doing it for a reason.
I know.
The porn sites?
No, the porn sites I do for fun.
Look at
Can
that.
I interject something here in the midst of this silty
No.
business?
Don, I'm going to tell you no this time.
Well,
Can't believe
I'm
we
going
do
to
that.
outrank you and do it anyway. Just to let everybody know, Wednesday, which is going to be our UFO
yes.
Halloween show, is going to be about an actual, honest to God, no kidding, vampire investigation I conducted a number of years ago. Vampires, allegedly real vampires. Now, with that being said, this weekend I watched a new vampire movie that just came out with Thomas Jane, whom I really like, called Slayers. Have you heard about that new movie, Slayers?
No.
Yeah, I have.
No.
Well, the bottom line is 10 minutes in, and for the rest of the movie, I was rooting for the vampires.
All right.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Okay. A bunch of Gen Z influencers
Oh my
from
God.
YouTube. Okay, we're in the movie, and like I said, 10 minutes in, I wanted to see the vampires eat them all. So, if you want to see a really crappy vampire movie, check out Slayers. Now, I know you guys do e-news, so I just thought I'd chime in with that.
I would watch that just to see influencers getting eaten.
Now, the reason my audio kept kicking out was because I was doing this. This is because somebody brought this up. It was Kingsport Cal brought this up in the chat. It's 9 seconds. Kingsport Cal said that war. You know, he did that quote from that song, so I had to grab that. And every time I open one of my audio editing softwares, it kicks me off the audio of the show, and I don't understand why it does that. I know it has to do with, and I'm going to use a word that apparently Disney doesn't like. You have Slave 1, Slave 2 audio settings in your computer, and I don't know how to tell my computer that Slave 1 is the show.
Well,
Instead, it makes the audio program Slave 1.
It's basically you can't have two masters. So
yeah, but I'm not recording, and that's the weird part. And I'm not recording.
Well, yeah,
so
but when you open the program, it automatically tries to grab the resources it's going to need. It doesn't know what you want to do when you open it. So when it does that, that's why it's fighting for control of your audio.
Yeah, so that's why I back out and come back in, because I wanted to edit that little clip. All because of that one clip. So, but anyway, Kingsport Cal, there you go. Yeah, there we go. You damn right, he says. Now, I heard somebody once say this on a show and in real life too. They said, fighting solves nothing. And the guy turned to him and said, ask Europe for World War II? Yes, sometimes it solves many problems. Sometimes you got to go there. And that's why Teddy Roosevelt said, talk softly, but carry a big stick. He says, be diplomatic, but have a military to back you up. That's what that meant. And I've always been there with that agreement. I always considered Teddy probably one of the best underrated presidents of the United States, because he did more for the environment than all presidents combined after him. And he did it through annexation. He did it through annexation using the, what is it called? Eminent domain. And by using eminent domain, he created the National Park Service and reservations to protect land, the land away from greedy corporate people. He's also the guy that broke up, I think it was Mobil Oil. Was it Mobil or Standard? American Standard. It was either Mobil or Standard. And was it Exxon Valdez? No, I'm just... I don't know history. But anyway, and some people go, well, he was a progressive, and like, what's his name? The guy that was on CNN, went to Fox and got fired. He started the Blaze Network. He likes to attack Teddy Roosevelt, and I'm like, dude, he was a different kind of progressive. You got to identify what kind of progressive you're talking about. He's not like the progressives of today, so don't include him in that. I hate it when he does that. It's like he doesn't understand who Teddy Roosevelt was. Yeah, Glenn Beck. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an okay guy, but I think he's also a douche, and he annoys me. When he starts crying on camera, I cannot stand men showing emotion like that. It bugs me. And it's not just the military. I mean, I was raised on the personal philosophy of Stoicism. You don't show your feelings. It's like poker. Life is poker. Never show what's going on. As my dad always said, you're really
pissed off.
Anger is okay with me. I don't mind showing anger. I think it's healthy. But my dad always said, he used a lot of baseball and boxing euphemisms. And he turned to me one day and he said, son, he said, make the hard plays look easy and the easy plays look even easier. Don't ever show off. Don't ever show them that you're struggling. It was the best advice I ever got for life. Just don't show people you're struggling. And that's why when people like go, really? You're going through all this right now? And I'm like, yeah. And I sip my coffee and just keep going. And I don't make a big deal out of it. And eminent domain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me now, Jeebus? I said eminent domain.
I think he was correcting Kingsport Cow because he misspelled it.
Oh, yes, I see it there. Yeah. Inanimate. It almost looks like he's saying inanimate. Inanimate domain. That means you can't move. It just sits there, that domain. Coffee's almost done. We are at the cabin. Move on.
I am not the one derailing you, Gerry. Anyway,
and suddenly, just like that, she was gone.
Fuck you.
Whoa!
Stop it, Martin.
Whoa!
And yes, that was intentional, guys.
We're all waiting, baby.
So you want me to get done? Nice. Shut up. Jason decides to end the hike here and go back to the hut, where Clay goes to his bedroom to sulk, and he tells them, yeah, my leg hurts from that hiking and I just need to sit down and give it a rest. And they're all around the table, and Jason lets them know, Command knows we almost had Yasiri. He doesn't directly tell them he suspects Omar, but they all know he's going there, and that kind of kills the mood. So Jason decides, okay, to boost the morale, let's go on a rat hunt. And they use all their equipment trying to find the rat that's been eating their food, which is the only action we really get in that episode.
I got to tell you, rats are so gross. I would do the same thing. I cannot stand them. They're so dangerous to your safety.
But it's funny to see them use all the high-tech equipment to find the rat.
Yeah, they got FLIR out looking for the rat.
And they don't find it. We never see them find it.
They never do find it in that. Yeah.
No, because Jason is like, I need my best shot for this rat hunt. We'll never have a chance without him. So he goes to get Clay, and Clay's like, let's go to a bar and get drunk instead. So that is what they do. And they drink rounds and rounds of beer, tell old stories from the military. Pretty gross stories. So Gerry was like, I like this. The one about the, you know what virus I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't say it. It's a stomach virus. It's the one that got you.
Yeah.
It's one that kicked your ass.
For 5 days, yeah.
Well, because just to mention it, I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't know if we'll get in trouble for it, but it was all over Croatia. It was a major health alert in Croatia.
Was it?
Yeah, I told you that. I went and looked, and I'm like, oh my God, it's all over right now. And yeah, that's what you've got. You've got that.
You told me that when I had a fever and expect me to remember that.
Yeah, fever-brained enema.
Yeah. Anyway, they tell fun stories, and then one of the guys is sent off to the bar to get another round, and apparently flirts with the girl, or wanted to invite her for a beer. So he comes back with the beers, and the boyfriend, who is a big, big dude, a bear of a man, follows him and is like, hey, stop hitting on my girlfriend, and calls him names, which totally sets off Clay, because the guy turns to leave. He's not really causing trouble. He's just calling him out on hitting on his girlfriend. And Clay calls after him, calls him dickhead, and says, you better be
Well, he got
grateful.
mad because the guy says, fine, you guys do whatever you're going to do, but tell your friend or idiot friend or whatever dipshit friend to stay away from my girlfriend. Yeah. And that just irritates.
Keep your muppet away from my girlfriend.
He says, you couldn't just walk away. You had to do that thing.
He's like, you owe your freedom to this muppet, and hits him in the face.
Muppet, that's right. He calls him a muppet.
Yeah, muppet.
The thing is,
and then
Jason had the situation calmed down.
It was done. He was done. But the last comment triggered Clay.
Yeah.
And Clay goes there and then freaking hits him right in the face. Even though I know it's a movie punch, it's not real. He threw it at an angle that really would have knocked the shit out of anybody.
Oh,
he came up using his momentum of his legs, pushing upward to hit this guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you hit a guy.
That was good. Do it. So, of course, everybody starts fighting, and Jason just gets his team out and back to the hut.
And they're terrified, like, what did you do? And they're yelling at him. But at the same time, I kind of like what he did. I think they needed that. Let off some steam.
Yeah, but they all tell him off. He's like, hey, guys, I'm just being a team player here. And they're all like, nah, you're not. You were just looking for trouble. So
yeah, he
goes off to his room again to sulk. And he's drunk by now and on pills. Okay, we cut to Lisa. The scene that we mentioned, she's going through the reports on Team Charlie, finds that name amongst the list, and goes to Eric to talk about Jacques Tandina.
Now, here's an important moment because she calls him out in that scene. Yeah. We all let Bravo team down.
Yeah.
And don't act like we owe them something more than this. And
no, the same is about to happen to Charlie, apparently.
Yeah. Charlie's about to get ambushed, and I think that our guys, Bravo team, are going to get sent in to cut off the ambush and help Charlie. So keep going, babe.
That sounds likely. Cut back to the guys talking about Clay, who is off sulking in his room. That's when Ray comes in, and he goes to talk to him. And that's the second shrink scene.
Well, once again, we got to go back to that moment because they hear the car pull up and they think, they followed us from the bar. Yeah. And they all have weapons trained on that freaking door. Hands like ready to go in there and pull that trigger, And the
Ray
door opens up and it's just Ray. And he's like,
guys?
What the heck, guys? Hey. And so it calms down. He goes in and he gives the best morale lifter speech to Clay. to let him know, look, man, I went through that thing to where I froze up in combat. I almost cost somebody their lives. So if anybody's going to understand what you're feeling, it's me. And so he just goes there with him and starts talking about, what it feels like. And it hits a chord with Clay. And go ahead, tell him what he says. I loved what he said to him.
I'm not sure I have the exact words, but Clay says to him, who am I to complain to you? You've been through worse. And Ray tells him, like, no. I did not get better until I let my friends in and got help.
Yeah,
that is what Clay needs to hear. And he sort of hears it again from Jason in the end scene when Jason goes to find him.
Yeah, and of course Anima lost her shit because I hate it when they do night shots that the shot during the day.
It looks like day for night.
And I'm like, no, they've been hunting for him all night. That's the sun coming up, baby.
Great.
It's okay. You can calm the freak down now, baby. Calm down. It's morning.
It's just House of the Dragon handed too much of that shit to me.
It annoys her. It really does. Look, man, those of us in America that grew up on American TV remember that. They would put a filter over the lens to make day shots look like night. And you'd see hardcore shadows on the ground from it like being noon and it's supposed to be like night. And we remember that stuff. That along with jet trails in the back of Westerns and World War II shows. You'll every once in a while they'll show the sky and you see a jet going across the sky or jet trails. Gunsmoke all the time. You could see jet trails. But yeah, it was a problem. They don't do it that much today.
Those were really UFOs, Gerry.
UFOs. Those are that was what do they call those? The trails, the contrails.
Contrails.
Yeah, that were poisoning American people. Those guys annoy me. That start that shit. It's like, oh my God, shut up. All planes do this. But anyway, not to derail too long. Let's get back to it. So the morning Jason finds him sitting there with a rifle. That was what scared him. He took off without them knowing.
But one more important scene. One more important scene before that, because Ray goes back out and tells Jason he's down, but he'll be okay. He'll be okay. And Jason tells him about how the heck does Command know about the failed mission, about how we had almost.
Yeah, because he thinks there's a rat in the
He, of course, blames Omar. He still doesn't trust him. And Ray tells him, hey, have you ever heard of that report thing that I have to file? I had no other chance, and I did my best to not make it drop back on you. Because Jason.
Yeah, he had to make his report out.
And Ray did his best to keep that out. Like, yeah, they almost had it, but things happened. So as not to make Jason look bad.
Ray slipped up like that before, where he gave more information than he probably should have in one of his reports, and it caused Jason trouble. But
he had to this time.
Yeah, this time I think that it was pretty clear. But Omar still, I got to say, this is bad writing. And Don, you tell me I'm not right on this. You do not speak upward in command in front of others. You don't talk disrespectfully to a senior.
Yeah.
You don't do it. They will smoke you or beat your ass. They'll knock the shit out of you.
Well, at least we don't see that.
And you got it coming, too.
And you got it coming.
Yeah.
And that's what bugs me about Ray and Sonny, because they watched him do that. And to write those characters as defending Omar is what's messed up. It's like, no, he was completely out of line and he should have been yanked, pulled aside and had his ass kicked, or at least verbally had his ass kicked for doing that. You don't speak upward like that. You don't. If you need to speak to your senior officer or senior NCO, you ask to speak to them privately. And then you ask permission to speak candidly. There's a chain of command to how you speak to your seniors. And if you don't do it, it's like that movie, The Hurt Locker. When he's talking shit to his senior NCO or officer, I can't remember the guy's character. He's from St. Elsewhere. And Hawkman is talking shit to him. Or not Hawkman. The archer from the Avengers. I forget his name.
Jeremy Renner.
Hawkeye is talking shit to his senior officer or senior NCO in front of everybody.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. I was sitting there with all my buddies that were all veterans, laughing, going, "That is one of the single most unbelievable scenes since Born Identity Kid took off from the green zone on his own mission." You know, you don't leave the fob on your own. You don't leave the wire on your own. You don't go outside the wire without permission. That movie Green Zone was so stupid. It was one of the dumbest films I've ever seen. And then Hurt Locker, I still consider one of the dumbest military films. It's got some good scenes in it. Don't get me wrong. And it does make, soldiers look like good guys. But I have a problem when they show breaking ranks and doing stuff nobody would ever do in the military. Romy played a general.
It all comes down to there's no I in team.
Yeah.
Yep, there's no I in team.
But there is a me.
There's a me. Yeah. There is a me. Romy played a general on SEAL teams. That is so cool. That is so cool. I didn't know that, Paulie. There you go. And I have my connection with last season because my buddy Kurt Yeager played Jason's old buddy that had lost his leg in combat. And I really like, yeah. Hurt Locker was dope. Yeah, like hi. It's like doing stuff that nobody would do. I do enjoy the film, but it was dumb. It was dumb.
You let them derail you again.
No, I'm not. I'm still talking about what I was talking about. Jarhead. Jarhead was like, hey, I'm going to tell you a story about a bunch of
King
stuff.
is just throwing movies at you to derail you. How can you not realize that?
Okay, bye, guys. So, basically, you've got Jarhead is one of the dumbest military films ever made. And if you're from the military and you think that's a great film, it is a story about a bunch of stuff that didn't happen. Nothing happens. The only thing good about that film is Jamie Foxx. He was great in that film. Everybody else was just dumb. Nothing happened. They didn't do anything. The oil field scenes, very familiar. I got to see those. And once again, at our own cost, the U.S. government's cost, we saved those oil fields, but we didn't take ownership of them. We gave them right back to the Kuwaitis. And I get mad when people say, well, we profit from. No, we don't. Somebody
just asked, Gary, what was in your opinion, the best military film? Now, I'm going to throw a name out there that many may not be aware of. You do. You are. And because I mentioned it to you before, but it's a Vietnam film called The Siege of Firebase Gloria.
Firebase Gloria, yeah. I like Charlie Mopik, too.
A movie that resonated with me.
Did you see?
That was a movie that resonated with me.
I got to tell you, despite the music,
because the scene where they overran.
When they get overrun. Yeah. Well, they have a little bit of that
because
in Platoon,
that happened
too.
to me.
Well, they show that in Platoon too. That's the best scene in the film when Charlie's in the wire, and he's got to call that fire mission on their position, and he hangs up, and Dale delivers the best line in the whole movie. What a lovely fucking war! There it goes, number 4.
Yeah, that's number 4.
But it's a quote. It's a quote. It's a direct quote. And I'm not ashamed that I said it because it is the best line in that movie.
I like Hamburger Hill.
That's the film I was going to go to. My problem with that film, and I started saying my problem with that film is music. Combat scenes shouldn't have music. They shouldn't have music. The music of war is the sound of war. And sometimes it's silence, sometimes it's explosions. Nobody's experienced artillery until they've had artillery hit near them, where the ground slaps the bottom of your boot. And I mean, it hurts, it stings. It's like, you're like, I don't want to get that. I don't want to get any closer to that. I don't want that any closer. And
Polly mentions a very good one.
I do not want to offend Polly on this, but I had so many problems with that film. One, in that scene when they're in the blown out house with the mother and daughter, he would have shot Punisher, whatever his name is, when he said what he said. He would have shot him for saying that in front of those people and in front of his team. He would have killed him. Absolutely would have shot him. Tank commander getting talked to like that by a subordinate threatening to rape girls, he would have shot him. No doubt about it. I have no doubt about that. Also, pick your colors for your tracers, man. That was like Star Wars. They're like multicolored sulfur. No, tracers have one color. And they're making them like almost violet and green. And I'm like, what is this, Star Wars? But I did enjoy a lot of the film. That scene with the two German women pissed me off. And the tracers annoyed the crap out of me. I'm like, that's not what tracers look like. And Thomas Jane is really good. Look, the cast in that film was really good. And what I really like is, who was it that got pissed? Was that Clint Eastwood's kid when somebody spit and it hit the tank?
No, I think I think it was Shia.
Shia got pissed when they spit on the tank. Because he's a method actor, and God love him, because he's gotten help. He finally has gotten help. He finally went to AA, and he was with the guy I'm just talking about, the guy that plays Barenthal. He did an interview with him talking about what it's like going through the 12-step program and how he didn't realize how bad he was until all the doors closed on him. There was no more Brad Pitt or some other movie star saving him, And but I did like that he got pissed that Scott Eastwood was chewing tobacco and spit and it hit the tank, and they nearly got into a fist fight over it. He's like, don't disrespect the tank, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that was interesting. But still, the movie's effed up. I don't know. Did you ever see it, Don?
Which one? Fury?
Fury, yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
the
scene when Barenthal threatens to rape the women right in front of Brad Pitt's character. Absolutely. If I'd been Brad Pitt's character, I would have just drawn my 45 and shot him.
Yeah, I had a problem with that, but I gotta say, I saw guys like that get so dehumanized, okay, that you really, if you still have a shred of humanity,
they become like Animal Mother. Yeah, I get you.
You gotta take a stand right there.
Yeah.
And when I was an NCO, okay, one thing I would not tolerate from any SOB was being disrespected. If I told them to do something, by God, you better do it. Or you and me, us, the two of us are going to have
We're going to talk later.
Freaking problem.
Hawkman and Adam Smasher.
That was
you
awesome.
and me later. We're going to talk.
After this, you and me in private.
Yeah. I hate the
That's
director,
exactly. I like that, and the reason I laughed is that was very military.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
That was very military, and I like that in the new Black Adam. Did you see it yet, Don? Did you go see it this weekend?
No.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
I saw Slayers. I saw.
Yeah, you watched Slayers, where you rooted for the vampires. But I do want to say, look, Polly, outside of those two things that I said, that scene in the blown out house and the tracers, I had big issues with the tracers in Fury. It's like, pick a color, and stay with that color. And but past that, those
and
two
it better
things,
be red. Better be red.
It's orangish red. And I'm telling you, the scariest thing, because I've been fired at, okay, with tracers. And I've told that story where I thought I got hit. I thought I got hit because I felt like heat going over my body, and my body went slack. and I went to the ground, and I went, oh shit, I'm hit. Oh, this is great. This is how I go out. And I can't breathe. I feel like there's this great weight on me, you know, and I'm like laying there, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm the medic. Oh, there I go, number 5.
There we go.
And suddenly, get ready, there's another one coming. And I realized the weight that I feel on me is a human being. It was our saw gunner. He had tackled me and was laying on top of me because I was the medic, and he was protecting me. And I realized this, and in my heart, I'm like, oh my God, that guy, he's protecting me. And I'm like, this is wonderful. I need to let him know that I appreciate what he did. And I yelled, get off me, you fat fuck.
Now make it 6.
I told you it was coming. I warned you. I told you, Lucy. And so he crawled off me. And this is the funny part. I was so grateful I landed in mud because I pissed myself. I knew I pissed myself because it was warm. When I thought I got hit, everything went slack in me. Because shock, that's what happens to your body.
You did get hit, just not by a bullet.
I got hit by an idiot saw gunner or machine gunner. And he's like, gotta protect you. You're my dog. You're dog.
Hey, let me ask you a question about that, about the saw. I've heard varying reports on it. Now, we didn't have them. They had not yet.
It was a replacement for the M60.
Yeah, but it's a 5.56. Now, my question is, are they pretty reliable?
I've never seen one jam. They're very mechanical and they're loud. It's amazing that it is so much louder than the M16 and it's firing the same round. And I cannot believe it when he's firing that thing over me. When I saw that scene in Black Hawk Down, where they're in Mogadishu, and the guy goes deaf because of the saw gunner. I'm like, yes, it's true. That gun is loud. And I love the nickname for the, it looks like a magazine. What it is actually, it's called the Nutsack. And it holds belts. And it's a belt-fed weapon. And it holds, it's not like a magazine. It is holding a nutsack full of, and that's what you call it. Hey, man, throw me another nutsack. And we were trained on the M60. In fact, our sergeant, I remember we were being trained on it, stood up and pulled a Rambo and did one arm thing firing it. And he did it for one reason. He was firing it at one piece of armor way off about 300-400 yards out. And you're watching, it was fun watching the rounds, tracer rounds zipping up in the air and shit. He says, but 90% of what I just shot didn't hit that thing. Because that weapon has so much recoil, you cannot hold it by your hip and fire it. There's no way to do it. But the saw was the replacement, the 5.56 or 223 round, depending on whether you're talking NATO or caliber, and the 5.56. And because of it being belt fed, it's open mechanical weapon, and so you hear more of the report from the weapon. It's not enclosed. It's just open bolt action, and the weapon itself is loud. The mechanical aspects.
I was a service officer in the MOPH, Military Order of the Purple Heart, and I talked to quite a few guys and gals, that came back from the sandbox that had been wounded over there, and one thing that especially the guys that were in combat told me is they hated the Beretta. They hated the Beretta.
It's terrible.
And a lot of those places where they were at, those were like stone-built houses or adobe. I don't know what the hell it was, but it's resisted the 5.56. And a number of them told me that they went out of their way to scrounge up M14s. Now, The question is, when the Army went to that, and we can all put that at the feet of Robert McNamara back in the mid 60s, all right, who did it, took away the 14s from the Marine Corps, the Army, everybody else, gave them initially a defective weapon. Okay,
the original M16, not the A1, but the original M16.
Defective. Yeah. The bores weren't chromed. The ammunition had the wrong powder in it. You know,
built
about
up
that,
carbon.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, they had so many problems with that weapon. Self-cleaning bullshit.
But I could never understand why they went to such a light round, especially in that environment, because a lot of those engagements were pretty far away. Now, when I was a SWAT
you
team
could see if you watch old footage from Vietnam, they're firing those M16s. Look how short the range is. You can see the arc of the rounds hitting a tree line, and they're already dropping by the time they reach the tree line. You're right. Yeah. They were a weak weapon. They bragged about the tumble effect, which was bullshit. It's just there was no power behind the 223.
When right before I got hit, that's why I had traded off my M16 with the 203 on it and picked up my grease gun. That grease gun, now, granted, anything over 50 yards is problematical with that. But boy, I'll tell you what, at close range, you got the job done. M3A1 grease gun.
It's a good weapon. My dad carried one when he was in the Army. And, for me, one of the best weapons was the Thompson. It was still being used in Vietnam. It's what Dale Dye carried.
But you couldn't find them. The Arvins had them, or the Rough Puffs had them. But
like the M14, the big complaint of the M14 was how much it weighed when it was loaded. Because it was a heavy weapon. It was the replacement. Well, that's just it. It carried a bigger mag. See, the M1 Garand, which was the weapon it replaced, was a clip weapon, which was top loaded, and it fired 6 rounds. And then you could hear that.
Top it off.
Yeah, you could hear that. You could hear that spring sound. You always knew when an M1 was empty, and they were doing a reload. So they wanted to replace the M1 Garand, and they found a fully automatic weapon called the M14. It could fire full automatic. And
very few of them were full automatic.
I just know that some of them were.
The company commander was the guy that had the key that could turn them, but they were, for the most part, semi.
Yeah. But they were the replacement for the M1, and the problem was that the magazine itself is heavy, and then fully loaded, it put the weapon over 14 pounds. What you hear reports about was that supposedly guys were complaining of humping those M14s in the jungle. And humping, by the way, doesn't mean what you think it is. Military humping means you're marching, you're walking with it, humping that weapon. And so they would complain about it. It's the same thing. It's goes with the BAR. The BAR was the M60 of World War II and Korea. And the M60 came out. Early Vietnam. The M60 came out during Vietnam, and it became the go-to machine gun for quite a long time. It actually was in it for 40 years as the go-to machine gun. And then finally, in the 90s, it was replaced by the SAW. And a smaller weapon that put out a lot of firepower. And that was the whole thing, because SAWs weren't there to kill people. SAWs were really created to suppress enemy fire. They were designed specifically because every squad had a SAW gunner. And so the SAW was designed specifically to create suppression of the enemy so you can move. And it's really good at that. It was really good for that. It was not a good machine gun for killing people. Because absolutely the M60 wins that one, hands down. Because the only two weapons I think I would be afraid to get hit by would be an M60 or a 50. Because there'd be nothing left if you get hit by a 50. And I tell people all the time, I wrote the scene in City of Fire, and Dale kept it in there in his version of the script. It's a true moment where this Haji jumps out in an alleyway with an RPG to shoot one of the very rear striker on the 72nd Striker Brigade on June 24th of 2004 in the battle for Mosul. And he just jumps right out with this RPG, and he leapt right into the sight of this 50 cal. And the guy's just sitting there, relaxed, chilled back, sitting on that butterfly trigger. He just goes thump, one round, and that one round hit him, and he just vaporized the guy. Just turned him into spray and mist. I tell people, you don't want to get hit by a 50. I thought the most realistic was Rambo when they showed what happened when he hit a guy with that 50.
Yeah.
And in the movie, even though it's not that great a film, The Jackal with Bruce Willis, when he shoots Jack Black in the hand, he's holding that pack of cigarettes out or something, or a cigarette, and shoots his arm off with the 50. And I'm like, yeah, that's what would happen. But it would probably taken all the way up through to the chest, because what people don't understand is gas builds up in front of that round. And that 50 is a large round. And that gas, when it hits you, disrupts all your tissue. And people forget, we're all held together by some weird gravity. We're just liquid held together. And it will turn you into liquid.
Well, that 50
wow,
caliber
baby.
round.
Who is that?
That 50 caliber round is a 765 grain projectile. That is a huge bullet.
Huge. It's huge.
Everybody knows.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
There goes another back door.
So I'm not going to play the video because I want to get to the end of this. So we're finally at the end, and it's.
Oh, you do remember that there's more.
Of course. You guys say that, and I always come back. I'm trained to do that.
You've been going for 20 minutes.
Doesn't
I had
matter.
lost all hope.
I don't care how long I go. I will come back to it. So the final scene. Anyway.
We're not at the final scene. We're still with Jason and Ray, where Jason finds out that Ray had to mention that incident in his report, and that is how Command knows.
Yeah, we got through that, and then they discover Clay is gone, and he's
not yet.
And he's left.
Important piece of information you're skipping.
All right, Jesus Christ, do it.
Ray tells Jason again, you need to trust Omar, and Jason's like, why do I have to do that? And Ray says, because I'm
we went over this. We went over that through what I said, which is that, Ray and Sonny keep supporting him as a good team player, but the proof is in the pudding that he's not a team player because he kept confronting Jason, his senior, in front of others. That's why I brought that up. So it's a problem. So then they discover.
But the important thing is that Ray will be leaving.
So yeah, Ray is leaving.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
get
through.
We already knew this. Here. Yeah, we knew it was coming.
Now he confirms it.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. That he's going to go do. He wants to do the
vet center.
PTSD Veteran Center. Yeah. Dealing with PTSD, and I think it's great. And he wants to do something, and he tried to say something like that to Clay, that you need to find your place, but trust your brothers, lean on them, to get where you need to go. And so now Sonny comes walking out, and he goes,
I don't know what to say to him, but he's gone. Yeah,
he's gone, and he's got a gun. He's got the rifle, and so they're like suicide. They're all thinking. I'm like, no, he's gone out there to get that deer, is what I'm thinking. And but he's, Jason finds him. And we have that complaint from Anima. It's like, I wish they would not shoot night shots during the day. I'm like, it's morning,
Get over
baby.
it.
It's morning. It's morning. It's a morning scene. And he finds him, and he sits down. He wants to play. What is that game he plays with him? Hit the stump, whatever it is. And he goes, oh, I guess that is like not the best game to say in front of you right now. He goes, no, not good.
Yeah, Clay says,
it's where you throw rocks.
That one.
You're trying to throw rocks and hit a stump. Is the game. I know what game they're talking about. Anyway, so Jason sits there and has a talk with him. And I kind of got a feeling maybe he was considering putting a bullet in himself there. I'm like, I did not picture that happening after that talk with Ray. But he's sitting there. And then, of course, a buck.
Jason tells him, you always wanted to be like me. And now you are like me, raising walls.
Yeah, thanking CBS. Finally, for doing something good. Paramount. and not doing a CGI deer. They actually had an 8-point buck standing there. That's a real buck. And I don't know if they found footage or what, but it fit. And so he scopes it and he realizes, I don't want to kill that deer today. And he puts it down. And he says, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not a shooter anymore. I'm not a shooter anymore. Because he was a sniper. And he was one of the best snipers that Jason's ever seen. He said, and basically saying, I'm a trainer now. I'm going to help other guys be good soldiers. And I'm like, that was a really good ending. I thought, this is the least melodramatic episode. There was
we have a nice team scene where they're all packed up and about to leave that hut, and they all hug. And
oh my god! And then Anima like loses her shit because he goes, "What about the pills?" And you see Clay
he just tosses them away.
He just tosses them onto the ground. She goes, "What about the animals? They might eat those."
That is not how you dispose of medication.
That's not how you dispose of medication. I started laughing. I'm like, that's what you would notice in that scene. Not the important the statement of the scene. You're just noticing that what he did was wrong.
Of course, I picked that. Now you're making me look stupid.
That's why I love you. No, you're not stupid. I love you. You notice things that I wouldn't have even thought about. I'm like, oh my god, you're right. It's like
stupid
animals
people
will
watch
get into
it.
that.
Stupid people watch it and they might think it's okay to do that.
Oh my god.
Also, it's littering. So
it's littering. But it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
Sonny drops a comment like that'll give some squirrels constipation. Like,
that's right. He did say that. That'll give some squirrels some constipation. I love his Texas accent.
Yeah.
He's got such a good accent. He is, by the way, if I haven't said it, Sonny is my favorite character on that show. Absolutely number one. As much as I'm a big fan of Barry Ellis or whatever his fucking name is, that's 7.
That's another.
That's 7. It's 7. I'm keeping count. The F-bombs, I don't have to. I know, 7.
No, you need to up the counter. You need to up the counter so you're reminded when you go.
I don't want to. You're not the boss of me.
I'm on duty, dude.
And you said duty.
So when you start the next show, you get reminded of how bad you fucked up.
Well, it's military Monday, so I'm not too upset.
I know.
Military episode.
But yeah, that's
going to be
the end of the show.
Laced with colorful metaphors, as Spock would say. I noticed recently.
That's a neat idea. We need a swearing jar, and when that's full, that goes towards my plane tickets.
I'm doing a quote from Star Trek. You're just talking right over me.
Of course I am.
That's one of my favorite lines by Spock. I notice your frequent use of colorful metaphors.
Dude, your audio's fucked anyway. No one can understand what you're saying. I can as well talk over you.
Really?
She's got a point.
Tested.
Yeah, it keeps doing that. Now it's back again.
Yeah, just give me a heads up. You can actually text it and not interrupt the show. Just say, hey, Gerry, your mic's messed up. I'll go look, and then I'll fix it.
Yeah, and then you read it with all the names when you do the thank yous.
Oh, it'll be funny, though. I do that on purpose.
I know.
But it is the end of the show. Great episode. This is actually one of the best episodes of the season. It felt like last season because this season was chock full of melodrama that didn't belong in it. And I blamed the writing staff. I'm like, why are you writing melodrama like this? It started acting. My problem with the unit. That's what my big complaint was with the show. The unit was excessive melodrama, home life stuff. We're focusing on a military unit, and we should be dealing more with military stuff and less with, living BAQ. Living on or off post, and the wife and all the drama that goes with that. It became more of a soap opera and less about a military show. And so I lost interest in the unit. You nodded there, Don. You agreed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though I love the cast, I just felt that it lost its focus. This show has never lost its focus. And that's why I love the fact that they hired not only as a cast member, but, that Army Ranger to be a tactical and technical advisor for the show. So all the military stuff, when they're doing tactical, is spot on. And I like the show because they they turn corners almost accurately. The best corners I've ever seen shown, corner turning with military, is the Terminalist. Whoever trained, what's his name? Chris Chris Pratt absolutely was a tier 1 operator, not a ranger. He was a tier 1 operator. They focus on those turns. Those turns are precise and mechanical. When tier 1 operators, I've seen them operate in real life, and I'm telling you, they're amazing to watch. I got to watch a training session once, and I'm like, oh my God, we look like kindergartners compared to these guys. They're really good, you know.
The unit, was that the one with Dennis Hashbert?
The guy that played Terminator, he was in it, and the gentleman from the insurance commercials, the black gentleman.
Yeah, Dennis Hashbert.
He was in
whatever
it.
His name is.
And of course, Terminator 2, I forget his name, was in it too. It was, don't get me wrong, the military stuff was good. Just wasn't great. It should have been great. That show should have been great. So I want to thank Alatar, Werewolf Jibes, hello. Thanks for being here, buddy. Penny, D. Bud Martin, Kingsport Cal, Pacific 414. Six was here. Thanks for being here, Six. Alex Moore, Brightest Day, Real Wade Nation, Glenn Fleming, Kylock, Dragon Ruse, Darius Munchausen, Bill Barkley, the Comic Relief Crusader. By the way, his link is still in our video description if you want to help him and his family with getting a house. Dragon Bricks, Latino Slant, Polly, thanks for dropping in, buddy. That was really nice of you. Apollomes Minion, Keto Simple. Keto was here. Dustin was here. It's good to see you, man. Dustin, I do shows with on Toxic Tuesday, sometimes on Monday nights with that 70 show, Brian, my other Scottish friend, and my wee Scottish friend. He's not, he's tall and he's bald as shit. But I think I got it. Did I get everybody, Martin?
Yeah.
It was in the chat. Okay. I want to thank, of course.
Well, yeah.
I did. Okay. I want to thank Anima for being here and being the love of my life and watching
and
movies
being patient.
with me. And yes, I am very patient with you. It's true.
I am
Thank
with you.
Oh, whatever. Don Ecker, who is my senior drill instructor. I want to thank John.
Not
for being
one,
here.
not two, not 3, 4, or 5, not even 6, but 7 F-bombs, Gary.
Yes. All but one after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That window that Martin says I need to make sure I try not to
Doing it
cuss in.
again.
So, Martin, of course, thank you for being the right side of my brain. I appreciate it, buddy.
I didn't
Robot.
catch that because you roboted.
I roboted?
Yeah.
What's roboted?
Fuck off.
It's kind of like motorboating, but in reverse.
Motorboating.
What's wrong with roboting is that
motorboating
once you say something nice and we can't fucking understand it.
Yeah. So thank you for being the right side of my brain. I hope you heard at that time. I'm a wee Scottish fiend. Yeah, but Bill, I pretty much believe that. You derailing mother puss bucket. And then, of course, again, John, I wanted to thank you for being here this morning. I left Keith alone because he needed a good night's sleep. He had a rough weekend hanging out with John. John wears people out. He wears me out. And it was nice. I'm glad you guys got to hang out. I wish I could have hung out with you. Next time, maybe invite me. Just saying.
I did.
I'm not really making you feel bad, but if you feel bad, you're doing it all yourself. I'm not doing it because I'm just messing with you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Military Monday has come to its end, and I am going to now play one more video before going out. Here we go. I'll play this one.
Thank you for your cooperation.
And with that, or I'm sorry. How does he say it? And yeah, that's it.
And
say it again. I want to hear you say it. Mow, mow, mama, ooh, mow, mow, mama, ooh, mow, mow, mama, ooh, mow, mow, mama, everybody's turn. The bird, the bird, bird, bird. The bird is the bird. Ooh, mow, mow, mama, ooh, mow, mow. door is closing.
Y'all come back now. You hear?